Hello everyone and welcome back to the next episode of Gen AI 101. In the last two episodes, we talked about how to think of responsible AI on the data layer and on the model layer. Today, we're going to discuss how to think about responsible AI on the application layer. So when I talk about the application layer, we are basically going to talk about two things. One is prompt engineering and how can you use prompt engineering to ensure responsible AI, and second, guardrails. These are the two things we're going to talk about on the application layer. So the first is prompt engineering. It is extremely important. If you remember our last episode, we talked about giving RLHF feedback to the model so it follows the instruction or to enhance its instruction following capabilities. In the prompt and during prompt engineering as well, you need to reinforce that by telling the model to follow the instructions in the prompt to the T. And you use specific words. And I'll give you an example. In our knowledge AI solution, which is called Knowledge GPT, we integrate with enterprise knowledge systems like SharePoint, ServiceNow Knowledge Management, Zendesk, whatever. You might use any number of knowledge management systems. We'll integrate with all of them and we'll create all of your knowledge in our side and we store it in embeddings, right? Now, when an employee asks a question, in the prompt, we will append things like only answer the question from the knowledge that is in context, right? Don't go to your own knowledge or don't create any knowledge. Just if the answer or if the knowledge is available, then only answer the question. If the knowledge is available in the prompt, then only answer the question, as don't answer it. Say I don't know. And if the answer is if the answer is incomplete, then also don't answer the question. Just say I don't know, right? So you have to kind of reinforce the instruction following that we had trained the model on or trained the model for. You have to reinforce that in the prompt using prompt engineering again, right? And I explained how I'm doing that in our Knowledge GPT solution. Now, the second part of it is within prompting and prompt engineering is also use something when you're doing personalization. So what you can do is you can enter the company knowledge, of course. You can enter the employee profile. So let's say if I'm asking the question versus someone else, I have access to 5,000 knowledge articles. Someone else has access to, let's say, 10,000 knowledge articles. So the search, when you do the embedding search, the search results for both of us will be different, right? For me, it will come from those 5,000 articles, and for that person, it will come from the 10,000 knowledge articles, right? So if you force the and if you give it my profile, and if you force the large language model to only answer from the context, it will ensure that I get an answer to what I am what knowledge I am accessible or what knowledge I have access to, and that person gets answer from the knowledge that they have access to, right? So you can use prompt engineering to also do responsible AI and ensure that people only get access to the information that they have, and to reinforce instruction following. Right? Moving on to the next, apart from prompting, the next thing you can do at the application layer is basically around guardrails. So after a response has been created, going back to the same example of Knowledge GPT, after a response has been given by WorkLM, which is our own large language model, or any other large language model, what we essentially do is we have a guardrail layer on top of it as well. So we do a fact check. Now that guardrail is basically a small algorithm that does fact checks. So it will pick out the entities in the response of the large language model and then go back to the context we had given to the large language model and see if the entities match, right? And this entity match ensures and tells us whether the large language model has created the response from the context or the prompt that was given to the large language model or from its own knowledge, right? This allows us, this is like one example of a guardrail. You can create many guardrails and guardrails have to be different for different use cases, right? The guardrail I've talked about is specifically valid for Knowledge GPT or for Knowledge AI solutions, right? And this is something we implemented and seen great success in. So again, to summarize, on an application level for responsible AI, we do two things. Number one is prompt engineering. You have to kind of reinforce instruction following via prompt engineering, and you can do personalization, or you can even do you can ensure that the right people get access to the right knowledge via prompt engineering. And the second thing that you can do is guardrails. and those guardrails can be different for different use cases. I told you how using knowledge GPT, Lean AI kind of does that fact checking or that entity match between the prompt, between the context of the prompt and the response created by the LLM to know whether it is coming from the knowledge itself or not, right? And you can create your own specific guardrails as well. Thank you so much, and looking forward to meeting you again in the next episode of Gen AI 101.